Danny Carter pressed his nose against the transport window and watched the massive space station grow larger. His breath fogged the glass as he bounced in his seat. Harmony 7 looked like a giant spinning wheel covered in lights. Ships of all sizes moved around it like insects around a flower. "Stop bouncing, sweetie," his mother said. Lisa Carter smoothed down her formal jacket and checked her reflection in the dark screen of her tablet. She looked nervous. "Remember what we talked about. Stay close to me at all times." "I know, Mom." Danny was 6 years old and tired of hearing the same rules over and over. He had been good during the whole trip from Earth. 3 weeks on a boring ship with nothing to do but watch videos and play games. Now they were finally somewhere interesting. Captain Gregg sat across from them in his security uniform. He was tall and serious, with short gray hair. "Mrs. Carter, the docking procedures will take about 20 minutes. After that, we'll go straight to your quarters. The welcome reception starts at 1800 hours. "Thank you, Gregg." Lisa looked at her son. "Danny, at the reception, there will be many different alien species. Some might look scary, but they're all friends. You have to be polite and quiet." Danny nodded, but he was not really listening. He wanted to see the aliens. Earth had only joined the Galactic Council 2 years ago. Most humans had never seen an alien in person. Danny had seen pictures and videos, but that was different. He wanted to see real aliens with his own eyes. The ship docked with a soft thump. Danny grabbed his mother's hand as they walked through the airlock into the station. The corridor beyond was huge. The ceiling was so high that Danny had to lean his head back to see it. Aliens walked past them in both directions. A blue creature with 4 arms carried a stack of boxes. Something that looked like a floating jellyfish drifted by, making musical sounds. 2 tall beings with silver skin and no visible eyes stood near a doorway, speaking in clicks and whistles. Danny stared at everything with wide eyes. "Come on," Lisa said, pulling him along. Gregg and 3 other security officers walked around them, watching everyone carefully. Their quarters were in the diplomatic section of the station. The rooms were nice but small. Danny's bedroom had a window that looked out at the stars. He could see ships coming and going in the distance. "Unpack your things," Lisa told him. "I need to get ready for the reception. Gregg will stay with you while I'm gone." "Can't I come?" Danny asked. "Not tonight, it's just for adults. Tomorrow I'll take you to see the station gardens. They have plants from 100 different worlds." Danny unpacked his bag slowly. He put his clothes in the drawers and set up his toy spaceship on the small desk. Gregg sat in a chair by the door, reading something on his tablet. He looked bored. Lisa came out of her room wearing a fancy dress. She kissed Danny on the head. "Be good. I'll be back in 3 hours. Don't give Gregg any trouble." After she left, Danny tried to watch a movie, but he could not focus. The station was right outside. There were aliens and strange things to see. He looked at Gregg. The captain was still reading his tablet, not paying attention. Danny made a decision. He stood up quietly and walked to the door. It opened with a soft hiss. He stepped into the corridor and the door closed behind him. His heart beat fast, but he felt excited. He would just look around for a little while. His mom would never know. The corridors of Harmony 7 twisted and turned. Danny followed the sound of voices and music. He found a big open area filled with shops and stalls. Aliens of every size and shape walked through the marketplace. The air smelled like strange spices and metal. Danny wandered between the stalls, looking at everything. One shop sold glowing crystals. Another had clothes made for beings with 6 legs. He saw food that moved on the plates and tools he could not identify. Then he heard an angry growling sound. Danny followed the noise to a corner of the marketplace where someone had set up animal cages. Most of the cages held small, quiet creatures, but one cage in the back shook and rattled. Something inside snarled and threw itself against the bars. Danny walked closer. Inside the cage was a creature about the size of a large cat. It had dark gray fur with white stripes down its back. Its face was flat with small, mean eyes and a mouth full of sharp teeth. The creature saw Danny and charged the bars, snapping at him. Drool flew from its mouth. "Stay back, human child," a voice said. The vendor was a tall alien with orange skin and 3 eyes. "That is very dangerous. It has hurt 3 of my workers. I must kill it soon." "Why?" Danny asked. "It cannot be tamed. It attacks everyone. I brought it here to sell, but no one wants it. Better to destroy it than let it hurt more people." Danny looked at the angry creature. It paced back and forth in the small cage, making low growling sounds. It looked scared and mad at the same time. Danny felt sorry for it. "When will you kill it?" Danny asked. "In 1 hour, after I close my stall for the day." The vendor walked away to help another customer. Danny sat down on the floor in front of the cage. The Eth charged the bars again, trying to bite him through the metal. Danny did not move. He just sat there and watched. "You're scared," Danny said quietly. "That's why you're so angry." The creature snarled at him. Danny reached into his pocket and found half a cookie he had saved from lunch. He broke off a small piece and pushed it through the bars. The Eth snapped at his fingers. Danny pulled his hand back just in time. The cookie piece fell to the cage floor. The creature sniffed it, then ate it quickly. It looked at Danny and growled again, but softer this time. Danny pushed another piece through the bars. Again, the Eth almost bit him, but took the cookie instead. They did this for several minutes. Each time, the creature was a little less aggressive. Finally, Danny had no more cookie left. He just sat there, talking to the creature in a quiet voice. He told it about Earth and his dog that had died last year. He told it about the long trip to the station and how his mom was nervous about her new job. The Eth stopped packing. It sat down and watched Danny with its small, dark eyes. Slowly, very slowly, it moved closer to the bars where Danny sat. The marketplace fell silent. Every alien in the area stared at the human child and the Eth touching paws through the cage bars. The vendor dropped the item he was holding. It clattered on the metal floor. "Impossible," someone whispered. Danny smiled at the creature. Its paw felt rough and warm through the bars. The Eth tilted its head, studying Danny with new interest. The anger had left its eyes. "You're not so mean," Danny said. "You just needed a friend." The crowd grew larger. Beings of many species pushed closer to see. Some took pictures with their devices. Others spoke quickly into communicators, spreading word of what was happening. Then a different sound cut through the noise. It was a deep, rumbling hiss that made every alien in the marketplace freeze. The crowd turned to look at the main corridor entrance. 7 massive figures entered the marketplace. They moved on 6 legs, each one thick with muscle and covered in natural armor plates. Their bodies were the color of dark metal. Each creature stood over 7 feet tall. Their heads were wide and flat with 4 eyes arranged in a square pattern. When they opened their mouths, rows of sharp teeth gleamed in the station lights. The head arrived. The crowd scattered. Vendors grabbed their most valuable items and ran. Customers dropped their purchases and fled in all directions. Within seconds, the busy marketplace was nearly empty. Only a few beings remained, pressed against the walls, trying to be invisible. Danny did not run. He did not know what they were. To him, they were just more aliens, interesting ones with lots of legs. He watched them walk through the marketplace with heavy, purposeful steps. The leader of the stopped near the animal cages. His name was, though Danny did not know this yet, turned his 4 eyes toward Danny and the Eth. He stood still, watching the human child who had not run away. Curious said to the beside him, her name was Aura, "The small human does not flee." "Perhaps it does not recognize danger," Aura replied. "Humans are new to the galaxy. They may not know what we are." "Or perhaps there is another reason." Moved closer, his clawed feet clicking on the floor. He stopped 10 feet from Danny and studied him with all 4 eyes. Danny looked up at the enormous alien. "Hello," he said. The said nothing, after a long moment, turned and continued through the marketplace. The rest of his pack followed. They disappeared into another corridor. The vendor came back slowly, looking around nervously. "You are lucky, human child. They are the most dangerous hunters in the galaxy. They kill without mercy. You should have run." "They didn't look mean," Danny said, "just big." The vendor made a sound like a laugh mixed with a cough. "You are either very brave or very foolish. Now go away. I must close my stall soon, and the Eth must be destroyed." Danny stood up quickly. "No, you can't kill it. Look, it's not angry anymore. It likes me." "It is too dangerous. I cannot keep it." "Then sell it to me, to my mom. She's a diplomat. She has money." The vendor's 3 eyes blinked in different patterns. "Your mother is the new human ambassador." "Yes, please don't kill it. I'll bring my mom here. She'll buy it, I promise." The vendor thought about this. He looked at the Eth, which was sitting calmly by the bars where Danny had been. It had not tried to attack anyone since the human child left. "Very well," the vendor said. "You have 1 hour. If your mother does not come, the creature dies." Danny ran. He pushed through the few remaining aliens in the marketplace and found a station directory on the wall. His mother had made him memorize their quarters' location. He traced the route with his finger, then ran as fast as he could. Greg found him first. The captain came running around a corner, his face red with anger and worry. "Danny, where have you been? Your mother is losing her mind." "I'm sorry, but you have to help me. There's an animal that needs help, and I promised I'd bring Mom, and there's only 1 hour left before they kill it and—" "Slow down," Greg grabbed Danny's shoulders. "What are you talking about?" Danny explained everything as quickly as he could. Greg's expression changed from angry to confused to concerned. "You want your mother to buy a dangerous predator?" Greg asked. "It's not dangerous. Not to me. Please, Greg, you have to help me convince her." Greg sighed deeply. He tapped his communicator. "Mrs. Carter, I found Danny. He's safe, but you need to come to my location immediately." Lisa arrived 5 minutes later, still wearing her fancy dress. She grabbed Danny and hugged him so tight he could not breathe. "Don't you ever do that again? Do you understand me?" "I'm sorry, Mom, but you have to come with me right now, please." It took another 10 minutes of explaining, but finally Lisa agreed to look at the creature. Greg led them back to the marketplace with 4 security officers surrounding them. The vendor was waiting, looking at a timer on his device. 15 minutes left, the vendor said when he saw them. Lisa looked at the Eth in the cage. It was packing again, growling at the security officers. It snapped at anyone who came close. "Danny, that thing is clearly dangerous. I can't." "Watch, Mom, just watch." Danny walked to the cage and sat down like before. The Eth immediately stopped growling. It came to the bars and pressed its paw against Danny's hand. Lisa's mouth fell open. Greg stepped forward, hand on his weapon, but the creature ignored him. It only had eyes for Danny. "See," Danny said, "it likes me." Lisa looked at Greg. Greg looked at his security team. Everyone was thinking the same thing. This should not be possible. "How much do you want for it?" Lisa asked the vendor. The vendor named a price that was very low. He clearly just wanted the dangerous animal gone. Lisa paid with her diplomatic credit account. The vendor opened the cage carefully, ready to slam it shut if the creature attacked. The Eth walked out slowly. It ignored everyone except Danny. It walked right to the boy and sat down beside him. Danny put his hand on its back. The creature made a rumbling sound that was almost like a purr. "I'm going to call you Scrapper," Danny said. The security officers kept their weapons ready as the small group made their way back to the diplomatic quarters. Other beings in the corridors pressed themselves against the walls when they saw the Eth. Word had spread fast. Everyone knew the story of the human child who had tamed an untamable predator. In another part of the station, listened to a report from one of his pack members. They had been hired to find a criminal, and they were gathering information. "There is strange news," Ara said. "The human child from the marketplace has bonded with a Eth. The creature is walking free with him." Turned his 4 eyes toward her. A Eth allows itself to be touched. Yes, it is calm with the child, aggressive toward all others. Humans are not apex predators. They have no natural weapons. They are weak prey species. This should not be possible. "Yet it happened," Ara said. "Perhaps humans are more than they appear." Days passed on Harmony 7. Danny and Scrapper became famous throughout the station. Aliens from many species came to the diplomatic quarters just to see the human child and his impossible pet. Scientists asked to study them. News reporters wanted interviews. Lisa had to turn most of them away. Scrapper stayed with Danny every moment. When Danny slept, Scrapper curled up at the foot of his bed. When Danny ate, Scrapper sat beside his chair. The Eth was gentle and calm with the boy, but it snarled and snapped at everyone else who came too close. Even Lisa could not touch the creature without it growling warnings. Greg increased security around the Carter quarters. Too many beings were paying attention to Danny now. Some were just curious. Others might have bad intentions. In a station filled with criminals, smugglers, and mercenaries, a famous human child was a potential target. They were still on Harmony 7, though most beings tried not to think about this. They had completed their first hunt successfully, bringing in a fugitive who had stolen weapons from a Galactic Council armory. Now they had a new contract. Looked at the information on his. The target was a human named Jake. Jake had stolen a data core containing classified military codes. He was hiding somewhere on the station. The client wanted Jake brought in alive if possible, but dead was acceptable. Any damage during the hunt was considered unavoidable. A human, Ara said, reading over shoulder. They are weak, this will be easy. Perhaps, thought about the child in the marketplace, but we should not underestimate them, they are strange. They began their hunt the way they always did. They questioned witnesses, broke into secure areas, and intimidated anyone who might have information. Most beings told them everything immediately. No one wanted to anger the. A maintenance worker named Pete Harrison was fixing a broken panel in one of the lower corridors when they found him. Pete was from Earth, a simple man who had come to Harmony 7 to make money for his family back home. He had never done anything wrong in his life. Grabbed Pete and lifted him off the ground with 2 of his 6 limbs. Human, you will tell us about Jake. I don't know who that is, Pete's voice shook with fear. I just fix things, I don't know any Jake. You lie, shook him. All humans know each other, you are few in number here. I swear I've never heard that name. Please, I have kids back on Earth, I'm just a worker. The others surrounded them, blocking Pete's escape. Their claws clicked on the metal floor. Their 4 eyes studied Pete with cold interest. That was when Danny and Scrapper came around the corner. They had been exploring the station, looking at the different levels. Greg was supposed to be with them, but Danny had managed to slip away again. He was getting good at it. Danny saw Pete hanging in the air and saw the big aliens surrounding him. Pete looked scared. His face was white and his hands shook. Stop that, Danny said loudly. You're scaring him. They turned as one, looked down at the small human child who was walking toward them without any fear. Beside the child, the Eth walked, its body low and tense. Leave, small human, said. This does not concern you. He's scared, put him down. Danny stopped a few feet away. Scrapper positioned himself between Danny and the growling deep in his throat. Had never encountered defiance like this. Prey ran, they hid, they begged. They did not walk toward danger and give commands. He was so surprised that he actually set Pete down. Pete immediately backed against the wall, breathing hard. You should not be here, Ara told Danny. We are hunting, it is dangerous. Then don't be mean to Pete, he's nice. He fixed the door to our quarters yesterday. Leaned down, bringing his massive head closer to Danny's level. His 4 eyes studied the child carefully. You do not fear us. Should I? Danny asked. It was such a simple question, but it made pause. Should this child fear them? Yes. Every creature in the galaxy feared but this human child did not understand that. Or perhaps he did understand and chose not to care. Scrapper took that moment to attack. The Eth jumped at, teeth bared, and latched onto one of his armored limbs. Scrapper bit down hard, trying to hurt the creature that was threatening his human. Roared in surprise. He shook his arm, but Scrapper held on with fierce determination. The other moved forward, ready to kill the small predator. No, Danny threw himself between them, spreading his arms wide. Don't hurt him, he's just protecting me. They stopped, they could have easily moved the child aside. They could have killed both the boy and the Eth in seconds, but something made them hesitate. Lisa's voice echoed down the corridor, Danny. She came running with Greg and 6 security officers right behind her. They all had weapons drawn. Greg saw the situation and immediately moved between the and the humans. Step away from them, Greg ordered, his weapon aimed at. Lisa ran to Danny and grabbed him, pulling him behind her. She faced with her body blocking her son. Her hands shook, but her voice was steady. Leave my son alone. Looked at the scene before him. The armed guards, the mother protecting her young, the child who had tried to shield a dangerous pet, the small predator who had attacked to defend the child. And through it all, not one human had run away. We mean no harm to your young, said slowly. We did not know he would be here. He shouldn't have been here, Lisa said, her voice tight with fear and anger. Danny, you were supposed to stay in our quarters. Scrapper finally let go of his arm. The Eth ran back to Danny, positioning himself at the boy's feet. His fur was raised, and he made threatening sounds toward the. Stepped back, his pack followed his lead, creating more distance. You should teach your young to fear what should be feared, told Lisa. The galaxy is not safe. I'm teaching him to be kind, Lisa replied, to help others to stand up for what's right. That will get him killed. Maybe, but he'll die as a good person. Lisa's voice was firm despite her fear. Considered this, he turned to Ara. We continue the hunt elsewhere. They walked away, their heavy steps echoing in the corridor, but looked back once at the human family. The mother still stood in front of her child. The child was hugging the dangerous predator. The guards maintained their protective positions. It made no sense. Prey did not behave this way, yet humans clearly saw themselves as something other than prey. Later in their quarters, Aura pulled up information about Earth on her. She read through files while the rest of the pack rested. "I found something," she said about human behavior. "What is it?" "Humans have a trait called pack bonding. They form emotional connections with other species. They kept predators as companions on their world, creatures called dogs and cats. They fed them, sheltered them, treated them like family members. That is foolish. Predators cannot be trusted. And yet the child walks with a eth that would kill anyone else." Aura looked at her leader. "There is more. Human parents will die to protect their young. They do not abandon them even when death is certain. It is instinctive." Thought about the mother's body blocking the child. About the child standing. Jake watched the security footage from his hiding spot in the lower levels of Harmony 7. He had hacked into the station's camera system days ago. Now he watched the question people break into storage areas and move closer to finding him. Jake was not a violent man by nature. He had stolen the data core because someone had paid him a large amount of money. It was supposed to be simple. Get in, grab the device, get out. But the Galactic Council had discovered the theft faster than expected. They had hired the to bring him in. Now Jake was trapped. Every exit was watched. Every ship was being scanned. They were patient and thorough. It was only a matter of time before they found him. Unless he found leverage first. Jake watched the footage of the human child with the eth. He watched the confrontation in the corridor. Most importantly, he watched how the mother had reacted when her child was threatened. That was what he needed. A hostage valuable enough that the humans would negotiate for safe passage off the station. Jake spent the next day learning Danny's patterns. The boy liked to explore. He often slipped away from his guards when they were not paying close attention. He went to the same places repeatedly. The observation deck, the marketplace, the lower-level gardens. Jake prepared his equipment carefully. He bought a stun weapon from a black market dealer. It was illegal on the station, but Jake was already a wanted criminal. One more crime did not matter. The weapon was designed to work on most organic species. It would drop a target instantly without causing permanent harm. He also prepared his ship. It was hidden in a forgotten docking bay on the station's oldest section. The bay was supposed to be closed for repairs, but Jake had paid a dockworker to look the other way. His ship was small and fast, built for smuggling. Once he got past the station's defensive perimeter, nothing could catch him. On the third day after they had confronted Danny in the corridor, Jake made his move. Danny was walking through the lower gardens with Scrapper. Greg was supposed to be with them, but a false emergency call had drawn the security team away. Jake had sent that call using a stolen communicator. He had maybe 5 minutes before they realized it was fake. The gardens were beautiful, filled with plants from dozens of worlds. Strange flowers glowed in the dim light. Trees with silver leaves grew from artificial soil. The air smelled like rain and something sweet. Danny was looking at a plant with moving vines when Jake stepped out from behind a support pillar. He pointed the stun weapon at Scrapper and fired. The eth made a sharp sound and collapsed, twitching. "Scrapper," Danny ran to his pet, dropping to his knees. Jake grabbed Danny from behind, covering the boy's mouth with his hand. Danny struggled and tried to scream, but Jake was much stronger. "Stop fighting and I won't hurt you," Jake said quietly. "I just need you for a little while to get off this station. Then I'll let you go, I promise." Danny bit Jake's hand. Jake cursed and pulled back, then pressed the stun weapon against Danny's side. He did not fire, but the threat was clear. "Don't make me use this, kid. Your pet will be fine. The stun wears off in an hour, but if you fight me, I might have to hurt you. Understand?" Danny stopped struggling. Tears ran down his face, but he nodded. "Good boy. Now we're going to walk out of here nice and quiet. If you try to run or call for help, I'll use this weapon. Got it?" Jake carried Danny through the empty corridors of the lower levels. He knew which cameras to avoid and which maintenance tunnels had no surveillance. They reached his ship without seeing anyone. The ship was small inside, with just a cockpit and a tiny cargo hold. Jake tied Danny's hands with a magnetic cable and put him in the corner of the hold. He locked the door from the outside. Then Jake sent his message to Lisa Carter's communicator. Lisa was in a meeting with station administrators when her device buzzed. She looked at the screen and her face went white. I have your son. If you want him back alive, you will guarantee my safe passage off this station. No tricks, no weapons, no following me. You have 1 hour to agree or I will space him. Jake. Lisa's hands shook so badly she dropped her communicator. One of the administrators picked it up and read the message. Within minutes, alarms were sounding throughout the diplomatic section. Greg ran to Lisa's office. His face was hard with anger and guilt. I'm sorry, there was a fake emergency call by the time we realized. Find him, Lisa's voice was barely a whisper. Find my son. We're trying, we've locked down all the docking bays. We're scanning every ship, but if he's hidden somewhere we don't know about. Then search everywhere. Lisa stood up, swaying slightly. Tear this station apart if you have to. I want my son back. The station administrator, a tall being with blue skin, stepped forward. Mrs. Carter, we have protocols for hostage situations. We will not negotiate with criminals. This policy protects everyone. I don't care about your protocols. That's my child. If we let every criminal with a hostage escape, the station would become chaos. I'm sorry, but we must maintain order. Lisa looked at Greg. What if we give him what he wants? Just let him go. If we do, others will try the same thing, Greg said quietly. They'll know that taking human hostages works. Every human on this station will become a target. So what do we do? Just let my baby die? No one had an answer. That was when appeared in the doorway. They had to duck to enter the room. His presence made everyone step back instinctively. We heard about the human child, said, the one who does not fear. Get out, Lisa said, her voice breaking. Haven't you done enough? We have not done anything, but we wish to offer help. Help from you, Lisa laughed bitterly. You're the reason Jake took my son. He knew they were hunting him. He got desperate. Perhaps, but we can find him. We are hunters. This is what we do. Greg stepped between Lisa and, why would you help us? Looked at the human captain with his 4 eyes. The child stood between our pack and danger to protect a small predator. The mother put herself between us and her young. These are actions we understand. Pack protecting pack. Young being valued above all else. These are laws older than the stars. You said teaching Danny kindness would get him killed, Lisa said. I was wrong. Kindness is its own kind of strength, and Jake has broken an older law than any the Galactic Council has written. He has threatened a child. This offense demands justice. Aura stepped into the room behind. We know this station better than your security forces. We know where criminals hide. We have tracking technology your species has not yet developed. And Jake is already our target. Let us finish our hunt. Greg looked at Lisa. Lisa looked at the who had terrified her days before. Now they were offering to save her son. Why should I trust you? Lisa asked. Because we gave our word, said simply. And they have never broken a promise, not in 10,000 years of hunting. Lisa closed her eyes. She thought about Danny's face when he talked to Scrapper, about how he had tried to protect Pete from about his innocent belief that everyone deserved kindness. Bring him back safely, Lisa whispered. That's all I ask. We will, said, or we will die trying. This is our oath. They turned and left, moving with sudden purpose. Aura paused at the door and looked back at Lisa. Your child does not fear danger because he has learned from you. You face danger for him without hesitation. This is what makes humans confusing to us. You should be prey, but you refuse to behave like prey. They moved through Harmony 7 like shadows despite their size. Led his pack to the oldest sections of the station, where repair work was always delayed and surveillance cameras often did not work. These were the places criminals liked to hide. They found Jake's trail quickly. A dockworker remembered seeing a human carrying something large through the maintenance tunnels. The worker had not asked questions because he had been paid not to. Persuaded him to share the information using methods that left the worker shaking but unharmed. The trail led to Docking Bay 47. According to station records, the bay was closed for structural repairs. But when they scanned the area, they detected an active ship inside. There, Aura said, pointing with 2 of her 6 limbs. A small vessel. Engines are warm. He plans to run soon. Studied the bay. It had only one entrance large enough for their pack to use. Jake would see them coming. If he panicked, he might hurt the child. "We need a different approach," said. He tapped his communicator. "Human Captain Greg, can you hear me?" Greg's voice came through immediately. "I'm here, did you find him?" "Yes, docking bay 47, but we cannot enter without being seen. Do you have humans small enough to move through the ventilation system?" There was a pause, then Greg said, "I can do it, and I'll bring 2 of my team. Meet us at the bay entrance, quickly." Greg arrived 10 minutes later with 2 other security officers. They carried weapons and a portable cutting tool for getting through metal panels. Greg looked at. "What's the plan?" "Your species is small. You can fit through spaces we cannot. There is a ventilation shaft that leads into the docking bay. You will enter through there while we create a distraction at the main door." "A distraction that doesn't make Jake panic and hurt Danny," Greg said firmly. "We understand. We will only threaten. We will not attack unless necessary." Aura stepped forward. "I will go with the humans. I am the smallest of our pack. I can fit through spaces the others cannot." "You don't have to do that," Greg said. "The child showed courage when he stood between us and the small predator. This is not something we forget. I will help bring him home." They moved into position. Greg and his 2 officers climbed into the ventilation system with Aura following behind. This armored body scraped against the metal walls, making noise, but they moved as quietly as possible. Inside the ship, Danny sat in the dark cargo hold. His hands were tied and his arms hurt from the tight cables. He had been crying, but now he just felt tired and scared. He wondered if his mom was okay. He wondered if Scrapper had woken up yet. Jake was in the cockpit, watching his sensors nervously. His deadline was almost up. He had sent 3 more messages to Lisa, each one threatening worse things if she did not agree to his demands. But there had been no response. Maybe they did not care about the kid. Maybe Jake had made a terrible mistake, but it was too late to back out now. He had committed himself to this course. The ship's proximity alarm went off. Jake checked his screens and cursed. Something large was approaching the bay entrance. He pulled up the external cameras and his blood ran cold. They stood outside the bay door, all 7 of them, their 4 eyes glowing in the low light. His voice came over the station's communication system. "Jake, we know you are inside. We know you have the human child. Release him and we will make your death quick." Jake's hands shook as he grabbed his weapons. He checked the door to the cargo hold, still locked. He could use the kid as a shield if needed. "You can't touch me," Jake shouted into his communicator. "I have a hostage. If you try to enter, I'll kill him." "Then you will die slowly," replied calmly. "We have hunted across 100 worlds. We have tracked prey through fire and ice and vacuum. You cannot escape us." While spoke, Greg and his team reached a ventilation grate that opened into the cargo hold. They could see Danny through the metal slats. The boy looked up at the sound. Greg put his finger to his lips. Danny nodded slightly, understanding. Aura used her claws to carefully remove the grate bolts. The metal came free silently. Greg dropped down into the cargo hold first, landing softly. He moved to Danny and started working on the cables. That was when Jake heard the noise. He grabbed his stun weapon and opened the cargo hold door. "What are you?" Jake saw the security officers and in his ship. He raised his weapon at Danny. "Stay back or he dies." Aura moved faster than any human could. She put herself between Jake and Danny, her armored body blocking the weapon's line of fire. "You will not harm the child," Aura said quietly. Jake fired. The stun blast hit Aura's armor and dissipated harmlessly. She did not even flinch. Greg and his team rushed through the door from the cargo hold. They tackled Jake before he could fire again. The weapon clattered across the floor. Jake struggled, but 3 trained security officers held him down easily. And the rest of the pack entered the ship. The small vessel felt even smaller with 9 beings inside. Looked down at Jake, who had stopped struggling and was now simply staring at the predators surrounding him. "You took a child," said. "You threatened to kill him to save yourself. Among my people there is no worse crime than harming the young. You are lucky that human laws will judge you, not justice." "I wasn't really going to hurt him," Jake said weakly. "It was just a bluff. I just wanted to escape." "You used a child's life as a bargaining tool," Aura said. "There is no defense for this, no excuse, no forgiveness." Greg cut through the cables binding Danny's hands. The moment he was free, Danny ran out of the cargo hold, but he did not run to the exit. He ran to Aura. The look down in surprise as the small human child wrapped his arms around her armored leg. "Thank you for saving me," Danny said. The entire pack stepped back. Even Aura, who had faced death countless times without fear, did not know how to respond to a human child hugging her. "You do not fear me?" Aura asked quietly. "You saved me. Why would I be scared?" "We are predators. We are dangerous. Most beings run from us." "Mom says being dangerous and being bad aren't the same thing. She says you can be strong and still choose to be good." Aura looked at. Their leader nodded slowly. "Your mother is wise," Aura said to Danny, "and you are brave." Station security arrived moments later to take Jake into custody. Lisa pushed through the crowd, running to Danny. She dropped to her knees and held her son so tight he squeaked. "I'm okay, Mom," Danny said. "They saved me." Lisa looked up with tears streaming down her face. "Thank you. I don't know how to repay you." "You taught your child to see past fear," said. "To show compassion even to those who seem dangerous. This is a gift. You owe us nothing." Greg helped Jake to his feet. The criminal looked defeated, his shoulders slumped. He glanced at Danny and Lisa, then looked away in shame. "I'm sorry," Jake whispered. "I was scared. I didn't think." "You should have thought," Greg said coldly. "You'll have plenty of time for that in a Galactic Council prison." They took Jake away. The crowd dispersed slowly, talking excitedly about what had happened. Lisa walked with Danny back to their quarters, holding his hand tightly. The followed at a respectful distance. Medical teams had brought Scrapper to the Carter quarters. The Eth was fully awake now, packing anxiously. When Danny entered, Scrapper ran to him and made happy chirping sounds. Danny hugged his pet and Scrapper licked his face. Stood in the doorway, too large to enter comfortably. Lisa offered him a seat, but he declined. "There is something I must tell you," said, "about humans." "What is it?" Lisa asked. "When we first came to this station, we thought humans were weak, a prey species without claws or armor or natural weapons. We thought you would be easy to hunt if we ever needed to. And now we understand that we were wrong. Humans are not prey, but you are not predators either. You are something we have never encountered before. You face danger not to hunt, but to protect. You form bonds with creatures that should be enemies. You raise your young to be kind instead of teaching them to be cautious. This makes no sense to us. It breaks every rule of survival we know." Lisa thought about this. Maybe that's what makes us human. We don't just survive. We try to make things better for ourselves and for others. "This will make you great allies," said. "Or dangerous enemies. The galaxy should fear humans, but not because you are violent. They should fear you because you change everything you touch. You make predators into pets. You make hunters into protectors. You turn enemies into friends." "Is that a bad thing?" Danny asked. Looked at the small human child who had changed this understanding of the galaxy. "No, young one, it is a gift, a strange, confusing, impossible gift, but a gift nonetheless." The next morning, Greg brought news that Earth's government wanted to open formal diplomatic relations with the hunting pack had earned respect through their actions, accepted the invitation. Before they left the station, came to say goodbye to Danny. The small boy was playing with Scrapper in the quarters' common area. "I have something for you," said. He held out a small metal object. It was a pack token given to honored allies. "This marks you as a friend to our people. If you ever need help, show this to any and they will assist you." Danny took the token carefully. "Will I see you again?" "Perhaps. The galaxy is large, but paths cross in unexpected ways." Paused. "There is a saying among my people. The greatest hunters are not those who kill the most prey, but those who know when not to hunt. You taught me this, small human. You stood in front of danger to protect those weaker than yourself. That is true strength." Danny hugged Slag just as he had hugged Aura. This time, the leader did not step back. He placed one clawed hand gently on Danny's head. "Be well, young human. May your kindness always be your shield." The departed Harmony 7 that afternoon. Their ship disappeared into the vast darkness of space. But word of what happened spread quickly through the galaxy. Other species heard the story of the human child who befriended a Eth and made the question everything they knew. And slowly the galaxy began to understand that humans were not like other species. They did not fit into simple categories. They were not predators or prey. They were something new. Something that could look at a dangerous creature and see a friend. Something that could face the galaxy's most feared hunters and ask them to be heroes. Humans, the galaxy learned, had a special talent. They turned enemies into allies. They made the impossible seem natural. And they did it all with nothing more than kindness, courage, and an endless capacity to hope for the best in others. It was a power more dangerous than any weapon, more valuable than any technology, and it was something only humans seemed to possess. Danny never forgot the years later, when he grew up and became an explorer traveling between the stars, he carried Token with him always. And whenever he met someone new, whether they seemed friendly or frightening, he remembered what his mother had taught him. That being strong and choosing to be good were not contradictions. They were the same thing. And that everyone, no matter how dangerous they appeared, deserved a chance to prove they could be more than what others expected. This was the human way. And slowly, carefully, the galaxy learned to see things differently because of it. Then she was gone, following her pack leader into the depths of the station. Greg pulled up security footage on a large screen. "We've found Scrapper. He's in the lower gardens, just waking up from the stun. Medical teams are with him now." "At least Danny won't be alone when—" Lisa could not finish the sentence. She sat down and put her head in her hands. Time passed slowly. Every minute felt like an hour. Lisa waited, unable to eat or drink or think about anything except her son. Between them and Scrapper, about armed guards who could not win a fight but still drew their weapons. "They do not think like prey," said. "They do not think like predators either. They are something different." "Yes, and Jake is one of them. We should be careful with this hunt." But they could not know that Jake had been watching from the shadows, that he had seen everything, and that he had formed a plan that would teach the just how dangerous humans could truly be. Thought about this for a long time. In his many years of hunting, he had learned that the most dangerous prey were the ones who did not behave as expected, and humans were clearly not behaving as prey species should. A crowd started to gather. Other aliens stopped to watch the human child sitting calmly in front of the dangerous predator. They whispered to each other in different languages. Danny reached out and touched the bars near the creature's paw. The Eth looked at his hand. Then, in a move that made the crowd gasp, it pressed its paw against the bars where Danny's fingers were. That was when everything changed. That was when beings much more dangerous than the Eth noticed the small human boy for the first time.